A typical day for me, because I work at the CDC, everything is very much so public health focused. And so we pretty much get projects in from whatever is I would say, a disease of concern or a public health concern. And we pretty much design methods to kind of attack that. So let's say, for instance, if we pick an application, let's say chronic kidney disease. So chronic kidney disease, affects so many Americans. And we aren't really able to measure like a biomarker that we need to determine if someone has chronic kidney disease very well. And so if you go to one doctor, they may say, hey, you got stage 3 chronic kidney disease. And you go to another doctor, they say, oh, you're perfectly normal. We can't have that, right? Because some people may get the treatment they need and others don't. So what my task is at the CDC essentially is to come up with a method to make sure that we are measuring whatever these biomarkers are as accurately as possible. So no matter where you go, you're always going to get the correct diagnosis. So what a typical day looks like for me is, you're given that project, you're given that biomarker, and you pretty much work in a laboratory to develop that method to make sure you're measuring it as accurately as possible. So there's a lot of work that goes into developing a method, right? So I would say about 50 to 60% of my day is spent actually in the laboratory, hands-on, working with some of these instruments, working with patient samples to either develop those methods or assign what the actual value is to some of the materials. And the other, percent of my time is spent working as a project lead and as an acting laboratory chief. So a lot of administrative work, making sure that my staff are, kind of meeting these milestones, making sure that the laboratory is moving and flowing as well as possible. Chronic kidney disease affects a lot of Americans. It affects people, period. And so that means people in other countries as well. And so what I may have to do in my day-to-day activities at work is travel to other countries to make sure that they are also measuring those same markers as accurately as we are at the CDC. I always talk about the importance of mentorship, right? So just about every position that I've ever gotten has been through networking and an opportunity that someone has afforded me. And that's been through me establishing these mentor networks and just networking every opportunity that I have. So I would say, always, if you can, find someone who's going to advocate for you, who's going to find opportunities for you, who's always has your best interest at heart. And a mentor doesn't have to be one individual person. It can be an organization as well. So if you find an organization that aligns with whatever it is that you're passionate about, and they have great resources available to help propel you to that career of your interest, join that organization. Or if you find someone who is in the field that you want to be in and is doing a great job, reach out to them and ask them to help guide you to becoming what they are. So those two for sure. And then the other one along those same lines is to never be afraid to ask for help if you don't know something, or if you just kind of feel yourself just kind of, stumbling in place. Ask for help so that you can not spend a whole bunch of time repeating mistakes that someone else has made, and that you get guidance to help move you forward. I think diversity, not only in STEM, but just in any field, is so important. Whenever you're making decisions that affect other people, you don't want to have that decision being made from one perspective. You need the perspectives of multiple people because it's affecting multiple people at the table. And so in a lot of the STEM fields, right, we are the forefront of any type of innovation, any type of scientific discovery, any type of work. And a lot of our innovations, a lot of our advancements that we're making, they affect multiple people. And so having a lot of different perspectives, having multiple ideas at the drawing board when you're coming up with these experimental designs is so important. And a lot of times it could be something as simple as, hey, I didn't think that would actually not work. And you provided a perspective of how we can go about doing this a different way so that we save time, we save resources, we save money, and we save lives. I want to see more diversity in leadership, and I'd say leadership in STEM as a whole. There have been a lot of documentaries, a lot of podcasts, a lot of studies that have shown, that as we traditionally kind of work our way up in leadership positions within the STEM fields, that we see less and less women be present. We see less and less diversity overall. And I hope to start breaking down some of those barriers to eradicate a lot of those issues that we see that are prohibiting people of color, as well as just diverse people overall, from entering those fields and being retained in those fields. So that's something I definitely hope changes in the future. Because as I mentioned, having diversity, it matters so much in regards to how we propel forward and how we affect the lives of others.